now that we're finally down to it, we have to take a look at some election fundamentals. Some things that just are at the bedrock of what goes on with elections, with people and God in heaven. I always speak as an observer on these matters and never as an advocate, because I do not get involved in civilian affairs, because I am a disciple of Jesus, and a disciple of Jesus for real. But like Jesus, like his disciples, like his apostles, like the prophets, like God himself, I will share my observations that are revealed in such realms that have to do with spiritual matters. And I share that readily and freely as people in great angst look for resolution and hope and peace. So there's a lot to say about it as God would say it, but not as an advocate, simply as an observer. So, you know, nothing's going to happen that doesn't cross God's desk. Nothing. So God is going to have to approve and allow whatever happens in any election as a matter of fundamental truth. And that's just how it goes. You know, in the Bible, we are called to pray that we may be able to live peaceably in the land. And that is something to look forward to and something God admonishes us to seek. And so in that, there is value, spiritual and every other way. But really, you know, God is going to give us what he gives us as well. And it is up to him, ultimately, to allow or not allow it to go the way it tends to go. So, it'll have to take God's stamp of approval on it. And yet there's that peaceable part. You know, in another portion of the scriptures, sometimes God just gives the people what they want. It may be bad for them, horrifying for them, but sometimes he says, that's what the people want, give them what they want. And that's scary. And sometimes God, on his own direction, his own initiative, makes a move, proving that he is God. Sometimes protecting the people from themselves, and sometimes handbagging the people, even though they didn't ask for it, into great trouble that they have sown and of which they are worthy and must pay a price about. So there's a lot of calculation in that too, as to what does this mean, this election, this result, this verdict. Beyond that, there are other factors involved as well. And the fact that there is a real continental shift going on the globe has to do with demographics, has to do with populations. And that really, that is heading toward a really pop eventually, which I'll talk about down the road. But demographically, the world is changing exponentially, and ultimately, the directions have shifted. And that will register in elections, if not this one fully, certainly those to come. And that cannot be avoided. And beneath that also is a quiet, silent group of people waiting and seeing. People that nobody really pays attention to, waiting and biding their time and seeing. And they will arise and do something eventually if the verdict goes adverse to them. Those are the patient people who bide their time. And they will arise and add an element to the calculus that is probably unforeseen to 80–90% of the population of the world. And it'll be interesting to see how all that works out. The election fundamentals basically indicate that God has a handle on things, man has little handle on things, and there will be uprisings and events and fallings, and it's all very exciting from a spiritual realm and all very exciting from a political realm. And it means a lot of things that we will unfold as the days unfold. In the meantime, sit back and watch it happen and try to grasp, what does God have to say about this?